Look at my wildflowers. And my pretty eggs. Daniel and I are on foot. We're heading out to another location that has blackberries in a different field of ours. And we're gonna see how far along they are. If they are ready, I have a bucket and we will harvest them. I've just spied the first blackberries. Here they are, can you see them? Okay, now I just gotta pick them. Okay, I am done. I'm gonna go home and I'll weigh it, let y'all know how much I got picked, but these are just starting to be ripe, so we have lots more to come. And this is the side of the property that doesn't have as many blackberries, and they're actually smaller than the ones on the other side of the property where the cows currently are. Hey y'all, it's Tuesday and we had a severe thunderstorm warning last night. It rained very heavy and there was thunder all through the night. So everything's very humid and soggy today. I'm going to go take the birds some scraps from the kitchen and I'm gonna go into the garden, harvest what needs to be harvested. I'm gonna show you a couple little issues that I'm dealing with. So let's get to it. Hi girls. So we have a plethora of yellow straight neck squash. It's kind of like a zucchini. And when there's like ones that kind of don't make the cut for the kitchen, I toss in here. The chickens are not interested in eating it, which is unfortunate. All right, so their area is pretty muddy. It's not quite soupy, but it's a bit muddy. We would ideally have more carbon down on the ground to help with the mud. All right, so the strawberries, there was one I noticed yesterday and it was starting to ripen. Strawberry is starting to ripen. That's gonna be the first one of the season. And I showed Daniel and I was like, your first strawberry. And then check out what I found this morning. So something came in and just kind of took a bite, didn't eat all of it. I'll snap this off and give it to the chickens. So I think, you know, for these other ones as they ripen, I'm gonna have to just cover them maybe like with a basket or something to keep, I assume that's either a bird or one of the groundhogs from getting our strawberries. Also, we get some pretty high winds around here. So this bell pepper plant, there's the base. It is just like fallen over, so I'm gonna need to support it. These two have fallen over, but they're being supported by the frame of the raised bed. So I need to do that. And I just have bamboo sticks for these tomato plants. These ones are still pretty young and not very large. However, like this one's pretty meaty. I had to put a second bamboo stick. And because the ground is so sopping wet, it's kind of like rotting the bamboo. And this one here was leaned all the way out towards me. And what I did was I shoved the bamboo further into the ground, even though it was pretty far in before. But because the ground's so soggy, it isn't holding as well. Additionally, I have this other stake here that I have tied onto the bamboo post so that way it has further support. So hopefully that will work for now, because I don't have, you know, a ton of tomato cages, and these T-posts that we use, those would be sturdy, but those are very expensive. So I'm just trying to do what I can on a budget. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and harvest. From what I read online, it said to harvest it while it's still glossy. I think that's still pretty glossy. I think it could have gotten a little bigger. So this is the Black Beauty. Generally, I like to harvest my fruit earlier because it'll just taste better, whereas if you harvest it too late, it will be like really tough in the skin and all. More squash. Okay, it's starting to rain a little harder. I might have to go back inside. I will say this has been a really nice season. I don't have to go to the grocery store for produce. I still gotta get my tomatoes. Okay, I'll just get a little wet. It's coming down. I'm gonna have to make a run for it after I get the tomatoes. Oh, it's coming! Okay, well, as Daniel said when I was coming in, there was no weather in the forecast for rain today. Anywho, here's my radish leaves, put them in the colander, and then I have my squash. I have them in some cool water because if you put them in cool water and let the part that you cut, the stems, soak up more water, they are not very likely to be kind of floppy and like going bad in your refrigerator after harvesting, so they'll keep in your refrigerator longer. Here's our eggplant. Then I'm just gonna put my tomatoes out on the counter. You don't really want to put tomatoes in your refrigerator. They will continue to ripen out on the counter. There it is. There's our harvest. Like I said, I've not had to go to the store and get any produce because it's all seasonal. It's in my garden and the garden's producing, so I just use this in whatever we're having for dinner or lunch or breakfast. Hey y'all, these are black walnuts, and most of them I grabbed off a branch that was broken when someone was doing some bush hogging on our property. So these are black walnuts, and they normally aren't ready to be harvested till late September, early October, and they'll turn completely black. A few of these, I think this one like I found on the ground. But so I'm gonna go ahead and remove the skins. They probably don't have much like fruit inside them because they're premature, but I'm wearing gloves because the husk of the outer part of the nut, it will stain your hands, and it can actually cause blistering on your skin and like irritate your skin, and the staining can be like for a full month. Also, the same toxin that stains your hand can kill like tomato plants and other plants in your garden and stuff. So I will be using these, but then thoroughly washing these because I use these to clip my like tomato plants and stuff. And if I can't get it off, then I'll just use other clippers. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and do my best to husk these, and then once I have the husk off, they'll store for a whole entire year, as long as I don't crack them open. After you crack them open, you want them to dry out for a couple of days. Alright, so this is about the size it wound up being. It's like maybe about the size of a nickel, or between like a nickel and a quarter. And I can see like it's no good in the middle, so I'm just gonna go ahead and toss all of these because there's no point in me, they're too premature. I will not be putting these in the compost though because they're poisonous. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably throw them out into our field in an area that no critters will get into it. Here's my potatoes I planted. Those are the older ones. Doing good. My onions are getting massive. Let me go around. Something's knocking over my garlic. I don't think it's just like the wind. I think somebody's walking in there. Okay, so here's my volunteer tomato plant, and look at how big this onion is. I'm just waiting for the neck to break. So here is one of my cherry tomato plants. It produces these little orange tomatoes, and I'm curious, has anyone ever seen this before? Here's the main stem, and then we have a cherry tomato, and then in the cherry tomato it put off a sucker, and it's making a whole new plant. Have y'all ever seen that? And this one's like putting suckers out. I'm just like, what is this? Normally you look for the suckers, you know, in the elbow. Not, see, this is what it's supposed to do. We got cherry tomatoes, and at the end it's just little flowers and cherry tomatoes. No whole other arm of a new plant. Here's my watermelon bed. It's empty. I had given up hope, but this morning I found one little sprout. So I have one seed that's germinated, and hopefully the rest are just about to pop up. Here's my acorn squash, and all of them have popped up. And this guy took a day longer than I thought for it to pop up, but it's up.